We spoke briefly with this victim's father. Now, we have been told by police that she was walking along Palomar Drive yesterday, and today when we were on the scene, we did notice some investigators returned to continue their work. There is a small memorial growing for the 16-year-old right behind us. Police also told us yesterday that there was some kind of dispute between two groups, and during that dispute, Jayda was shot and later died. When we spoke with Jayda's father tonight via Zoom, keep in mind he lives in San Antonio, he said that he wants police to bring his daughter's killer to justice and cannot understand why anyone would hurt her.
She's very lovable. She's a lovable person. She has a good soul. She just have this humbleness to her that everybody misses, you know? And it's just, and she's quiet. She's very nice. She's not confrontational. And it's just so happened that it's like people keep telling me, so it's always the good ones that get hurt. It's always the good ones. And I didn't know until the experience happened to me and our family.
Now, police are offering a reward of up to $25,000. That is for information leading to an arrest and indictment.
A 17-year-old boy is in jail accused of murdering a Prince George's County student. The teen is being charged as an adult.
Yeah, the arrest coming just 4 days after the fatal shooting of 16-year-old Jayda Medrano Moore near Duval High School. Our Lily Zhang spoke to the victim's family. She has more tonight from Lanham.
For the past few days, a memorial for Jayda Medrano Moore has steadily grown for the 16-year-old. This is a street where police say two groups were in some kind of dispute on Monday when Jayda was leaving school. She was shot by a 17-year-old boy after she tried to intervene. That suspect will face charges as an adult, including first-degree murder. Jayda's aunt says news of the arrest is bittersweet. On one hand, there is a sense of relief, but it does not bring back Jayda.
Jayda was and still is a very loving, respectful young lady, wanted peace within everyone, every community. She was a very good basketball player. She played for both AAU, she played for High Point High School, she played for Duval High School. She was just Jayda.
And police say they credit the arrest to not only police work, but the numerous of tips they received from the public.
All week, friends have left memorials here on Palomar Drive in Lanham, where 16-year-old Jayda Medrano Moore was shot and killed on her way home from school.
All of us are just speechless, and we are just so devastated and so angry.
Friday, county leaders and Prince George's County Police announced murder charges for her death. A 17-year-old boy charged as an adult.
You will not scare your peers into silence. They will speak up, and they have spoken up in this case.
Court documents say multiple tips helped police track their suspect to nearby Flowers High School. Investigators say the teen is seen on surveillance video following Jayda and her friends. Witnesses say a car pulled up beside them, more suspects got out, and a fight started. According to witnesses, when the first suspect pulled out a gun, Jayda stepped in and tried to grab it from him. One witness told police the 17-year-old tried to say the gun went off by accident, but investigators say he pistol whipped Jayda, then shot her in the head.
The fight was happening. She knows this individual. She's related to an individual. She steps in to stop that. A person with a gun at a fight shot her and killed her.
The basketball standout's father says Jayda had dreams of playing professionally. Friends say she was well-known and well-liked.
She was a star in our community, and on the day of this incident, she was a star yet again and gave her life there trying to defuse this particular incident.
Chief Aziz says the investigation into this shooting is ongoing and more arrests can't be ruled out. He also said police have yet to find the gun used in the shooting. Jayda Leslie would have been 17 next week.
Thank you for being here today, and thank you to all the community members who are watching on social media. The murder of 16-year-old Jayda Medrano Moore on Monday was a shock to our entire community. It was a shock to myself and the police department. She was a bright student, a great athlete, with even a brighter future. And now we know it was another juvenile armed with a gun who stole her future and shattered her family. I'd like to thank the Homicide Unit, Major Crimes Division Homicide Unit, who are behind me, Lieutenant King, Sergeant Watts, Detective Thompson, Detective Tracy, Detective Bays, and our lead detective, Shepard, for their dedicated work to making an arrest in this case. They were committed to arresting the person responsible for killing Jayda. Yesterday evening, they did. Detectives arrested a 17-year-old male from Glen Arden for her murder. He is charged as an adult. On September 11th, right after school, our officers responded to a call for a shooting in the 9800 block of Palomar Drive. Jayda was located suffering a gunshot wound and pronounced deceased at the hospital. Through various investigative techniques, as well as information provided anonymously to Prince George's County crime solvers, Homicide Unit detectives identified and arrested the juvenile suspect Thursday evening. The preliminary investigation revealed the victim was walking on Palomar Drive after leaving school when a fight ensued between two groups who were involved in an ongoing dispute. During the fight, the suspect produced a gun. Detectives believe the victim attempted to intervene when she was shot. The juvenile suspect is charged with first and second degree murder, first and second degree assault, and a firearms charge. It seems like we are here way too often, and I'm frustrated that the violent few are disrupting the education and the promising future of our great children of Prince George's County. Now that we've made this arrest, we're hoping to bring some degree of comfort to the family as we start this process, as we pass the baton to our state attorney to start the next step of justice. And we'll be following this case throughout, and we'll be monitoring everything that goes on with this case. For now, I'll pass it over to our county executive for a few remarks.
Good afternoon. I'd like to first begin by expressing the grief that I think is a collective grief in our community regarding the death of Jayda Medrano Moore. Jayda was a star. I mean, in every sense of the word. She was a star in her school. She was a star as a part of Team Elite. She was a star in our community. And on the day of this incident, she was a star yet again and gave her life there trying to defuse this particular incident. It goes without saying that all of us are just speechless, and we are just so devastated and so angry about the loss of Jayda. It shouldn't have happened. It didn't have to happen. What I can tell you as well is that I am just so proud of the men and women who investigated this case and who continue day in and day out to do their very best to investigate these cases, to begin to bring closure by way of arrest. The Prince George's County Police Department, led by the folks in this unit, now have above 70% closure rate, which is an outstanding rate. More than 7 out of 10 of these cases have resulted already in arrest. And so I want to thank them. I want to thank Chief Aziz for his leadership and thank them for what they continue to do. I also would like to say that we are looking forward to having our state's attorney and her team, who have been involved as well in this investigation all along the way, to bring justice to this family. And I can tell you that from the government standpoint, we continue to invest in the youth of our community. We have done so by way of sparing no expense to make sure that our children have every opportunity available to them through the Summer Youth Enrichment Program, where we have now hired every single child who applied for that program. From the Passport program, where we are providing opportunities to our kids. We have opened a new mental health care and addictions care facility and are expanding beds to make sure that our kids have the opportunity to receive those services, telehealth services that we're providing now at the schools, so that families who are not able to get out during the day can then have those appointments virtually. We have invested dollars in the Hope in Action. So we have violence interrupters, after school programming. We have 15 or 16 nonprofits who are joining us to do this work of making sure we continue to spare no expense in funding programs that we believe will disrupt violence and give our kids opportunities to grow, develop, and to live. But it goes without saying, and I have said it now and will continue to say it until I am blue in the face, that we cannot do any of this work without the families, without our community members, who, by the way, really did step up even in this case. I'm told that we had more calls than we could even field from members of our community who called in to give their assistance, to give information. So I want to thank the public for helping us in this case, but it's going to take so much more of that to stem the violence that we are seeing, especially escalating among our children. I hear all the time, what else is it that the government can do? And let me just tell you this issue will not be resolved simply by the government. It will not be resolved by the police. It cannot just be resolved by the state's attorney. It must be resolved in the homes and in the communities of these children, from their parents to the aunties, uncles, godparents. Everybody has a responsibility to protect our children, to protect their lives and to prevent them from taking the lives of other children. So we will continue to do our part in investing in our children, in investigating these cases, prosecuting the cases, and then we ask the community to continue to do your part, because that's the only way we're going to stop this violence and preserve the precious lives. Our kids are too precious to give over to violence. And now I'm going to just turn it over, please, to our state's attorney, Aisha Brayboy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam County Executive, and also to my partner, Chief Aziz. As the Chief remarked earlier, we're here yet again for another press conference centered around senseless acts of violence involving young people in our communities for crimes that carry life sentences. I want to make that point very clear. These are serious crimes that carry life sentences. To our young people, you are not outsmarting the police. You are not outmaneuvering prosecutors. You will not scare your peers into silence. They will speak up, and they have spoken up in this case. And then you will be held accountable. You know, it is now our turn in this justice process as prosecutors to see this case through. We work continuously with our police department as we continue to investigate any case, even after charges are filed. But it's really the community. We are anchored by you. We are anchored by the community, and you will help us deliver justice for Jayda Medrano Moore. I am confident that with the help of this community, we can get justice. But also with the help of this community, we want to save lives. I love our young people. I care about them. I grew up in this community too. So I see myself reflected in every young person in our public school system here in Prince George's County. And I know their potential. I know it. I'm one of you. I'm one of you. But you have to understand we have a job to do, which is to protect our community. And so when you make decisions, we have to make decisions. And the decision of my office is to hold you fully accountable and responsible for your actions. So just understand, this is not the first time, it's not the second time. Unfortunately, we have, in many cases, held young people accountable for adult crimes in adult court. So it's really important that our young people understand that and know that the decisions you make can and will affect the rest of your lives. So thank you very much, again, to all my partners, and I believe I'm passing it over to our new superintendent.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. As our district attorney indicated, I'm Millard House, the superintendent of schools with the Prince George's County School District. And I want to start off just simply thanking the leadership of our police department. Our police department is a dedicated, focused organization that truly did the work that was necessary to ensure that we brought the perpetrator to justice in this particular case. We do, unfortunately, have the loss of a life, a sister, a daughter, a sibling, a individual that had befriended several individuals in this community, and that is a tragic, tragic situation. As you may know, Jayda was a PGCPS student, and this accomplishment in terms of cracking this case truly underscores their commitment in terms of the police department in reference to safety and justice within our community. I think you heard it from our county executive, you heard it from our top attorney in this community, that this is extremely important as we move forward in terms of the safety of our community. As superintendent, I'll be calling upon community leaders to really unite and work together collaboratively in an effort to ensure that we can be only as focused as we can be to achieve what's necessary to have our students in a safe environment. I want to also ensure that we're working together and continue to make the efforts that we need, ensuring that our schools, our neighborhoods, our communities are as safe as possible. As superintendent, I am committed to making certain that I work closely with all of the leaders that you see before us today to make certain that that does happen. And with that being said, I'll turn it back over to Chief. And just again, a big thank you to everybody involved behind us in reference to the efforts that have occurred over the course of the last 4.5 days. Thank you.
With that, we'll take a few questions. No, right here first.
I have a bunch.
We'll just get one right now.
Only one?
It's a lot of people in the room.
So just as far as what you can say about the 17-year-old, can you confirm whether this young person is a student at the school and how this person got the gun?
Well, I can confirm I don't know how this person got the gun right now. It's still an active investigation, and that person is not talking to us at this point, so we don't know how that gun was obtained at this point. As far as was he a student, I think the school system would be better to confirm was he a student or not.
Can you say, Mr. House, whether
We can't confirm that both were students.
throughout, at throughout?
No, one Duval student, one Flowers High School student.
So the victim is Duval, and then the suspect.
Step over here. Yeah, just step over. We had a super step over here.
The victim was a Duval High School student, and the assailant was a Flowers High School student.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Can you tell us anything about whether or not this young suspect is a catch and release type juvenile? Has he been handled by your department before or the system, as far as you know?
As far as we know, the answer is no. We don't have any record that we have or we have obtained that says he had been handled by us, was any habitual student, a violator, or anything like that at this point in time. This does not appear to be that case.
Can you tell us anything about the alleged beef that was going on between these two groups of young individuals in Calliope? Share with us anything about the motives here.
Well, from what we know now, was some type of petty beef involving, individuals as young people get involved in with each other. Somebody said this. It's maybe another, opposite sex involved. All those kinds of things have come into play with these two groups who are fighting for really no reason. We've seen this before throughout history, where young people have become involved in altercations that have been verbal, and then they have turned to fights, fist fights. Going to school is a great opportunity. It's the best thing to do. Meeting the fight after school is a bad idea. Bringing a gun to that fight is an even worse idea. And so that's what you were talking. It went from words, exchanges, ideals, petty beef to producing a weapon and subsequently killing young Jayda Medrano Moore.
Chief and
Brad?
Perhaps County Executive. This crime happened this week. We got a hearing in Annapolis. The head of the Department of Juvenile Services sort of went on a preemptive strike, kind of diminishing with some statistics the impact of juvenile crime in the community. The legislature is being asked to make some changes. The legislature pushed back against one of your own officers in the hearing the other day. What do you make of this big battle going on right now about what the right approach is to deal with this juvenile crime? And do you recognize it as a serious condition problem right now?
Oh, obviously it's a serious condition. I think this murder alone, if we lost one child, and in this case, Jayda Medrano Moore, says it's a very, very serious problem for us. Now, everybody else can crunch the data and do whatever it is they do there, but I can tell you what the facts are. The facts are, for example, last year we arrested for the first time more youth than adults for armed carjackings. The facts are that we also are seeing increasing numbers of these shootings. Our youth are involved in escalating violence, and the impact is what we are focused on. The impact is that we are seeing young people who are not only victimizing their own community members, but who are victimizing and killing each other. Now, from our standpoint, and I'm sure I speak for all of those who are involved in this team with me, the loss of life is breathtaking. And if it was one life, that would be too many. If we had one victim, that would be too many. Somebody, all of us, need to continue to do everything we can to make sure that this stops. We've done it here. We are arresting at a rate that is really admirable. You don't see these kinds of closure rates across the country. 7 out of 10 of these are resulting in arrest. You see the prosecutors here with her team, and they're investigating. The government is sparing no resource. But there's a whole ecosystem. The Department of Juvenile Services has a role to play. Parole and probation has a role to play, the court system. This is an ecosystem. And every part of it, the parents, communities, godmamas, aunties, dads, moms, everybody has a role to play. And what we are saying now is everybody should be singularly focused on not, quarreling about, whether one way or another, the number. The impact on our community is unquestionable. It's unquestionable. People deserve to live in places that are safe, and our kids deserve not to die right near their schools and in their homes and communities. That's what we feel.
To be clear, Jayda was not part of the group. She was going to the pool, and the troopers were like already there, right? Is that clear?
No, that's not. She was there. I don't want to characterize her as being part of a crew, okay? But she was there, and a fight was there, and these people are known. And she stepped in between that when a gun was produced. And all people can watch a fight. I don't think young people should be participating. That's a part of the participation that's going bad. But she was not part of any crew that we would say that right now. She was there. The fight was happening. She knows these individuals. She's related to an individual. She steps in to stop that. And that right there, a person with a gun at a fight shot her and killed her. Well, I'm not. The dad is not here, so I can't speak. I didn't read it. I didn't hear it. So I'll just go with whatever the dad told you. I'm sure that's what he meant. Go ahead.
Yes. I know it's still early on in your investigation, but do you know where the suspect was all this time? He was arrested. I'm sorry. The suspect was arrested on Thursday.
Yeah, well, we don't know exactly where the suspect's movement were. We know that he was out. He was doing out and about. He was talking to people. He was going to living his life as if this did not occur. At every opportunity, he could have stood up and said, hey, this is me. We were looking for him. We put it out there. Other people had to tell it and say it. Our great community heard our county executive give praise to our community for stepping up. We ask them to step up. We come here. We say call Crime Solvers, call our homicide unit, call our tips line, give us any information any which way you can. And they did. And they told us about it. At any point in time, he could have done the same thing, but he didn't. And he left it to these fine men and women who are standing over here behind me to do their job as the great investigator.